Hey everyone, I'm Nicholas and welcome back to Production Bot 101. In this episode, we're talking about 4K inputs and outputs into the production bot. Now, the production bots will either come with an Aja Corvid 88 or Corvid 44 capture card. That means that you'll either have 8 or 4 BNC connectors. These BNC connectors are actually 3G. They're not 6G or 12G, which do support 4K. So we have to do what's called quad link to get the inputs into the actual computer itself. So with me, I have a HyperDeck Studio Pro here. This currently is outputting a 4K video feed over the quad channel SDI in the back here. So you can see we have the 4 SDI connected here. That's just connected to here. And it's really not that hard to set up on the production bot, so let me show you how to do that. So if you come down to here, I have the Aja control panel opened up already. You'll have to do some configuration in here to get it working. So the first one is you have to have the format be 4K 2997. This will be what the actual video format is. So I have that already. And then if I go to the input select, this will have source to be UHD 4K 4-wire. That's saying it's using 4K video and it's a 4-wire to get that. If you want to do the SDI outputs at all, you'll have to do the SDI output and set this to the quadrants 4-wire, but that's really it. There's nothing else that you should need to do, so we're good to close that out. Now, if you just made these changes and you open up the program, open up vMix, it won't work. Once you make the changes, you'll have to restart the computer for it to take full effect, so you can actually do this. But now that it's set up, let's go and open up vMix and show you what it looks like in there. Okay, so I'm in vMix. Currently, I'm in a 4K setting. So you can see at the bottom left here, 2160p, 2997. That means that this is meant to bring in 4K inputs. So just to double check this, I'm going to go into my settings, and we're going to, in display here, see that it's at 3840 by 2160. And then the rest at 2997 frame rate. So everything looks good. This looks all set up and ready to go. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to add input. We're going to add a camera input, and I'm going to do Corvid 88 input 1. So if I do it now as is, I'm going to show you this. If I just make this as 1920 by 1080 here, click OK, we're going to see video and we're going to see audio, but look, that's really close in. This is because this is just the upper left corner of the video because we have the 4 SDI. So we need to actually change this. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this input. Yes, I want to pause it. And we're going to go back. We're going to change it to input 1. And instead of leaving it at 1920 by 1080, we're actually going to change it to 3840 by 2160 here and just drop down for resolution. Frame rates is still good. We don't have to worry about that. And then I'll just click OK. And so now where you just saw the upper left corner before, and now we have as the full image. Because it is the 4 feeds that's just being compiled together, it's now working as intended. So now say I have another 4K input. So I have another 4 SDI cables. How do I add that? Well, I'm going to go back to the same thing, add input. We're going to add a camera. I obviously don't have a connection right now, but here. So instead of input 2, because inputs 1 through 4 are being used for this, I would actually start with input 5 and I would do the same thing. I would select this, select that, and I would click OK. And then I would have another 4K input. But now let's say I only have one 4K input. And let's say I want another output now. So now instead I can go to my external settings. We'll go to external output settings. And in here, I will enable the external render. Exact same thing. I will actually start with Corvid output 5. Then I would click OK, and then that would be set up for that. But again, I would need to have the 4 SDI connected to those, either convert to a 12 gig feed on a 12 gig BNC, or I would have to connect it to a device that supports a quad SDI in like a HyperDeck here. So there, you learned how simple it is to actually set up 4K on the production bot. You just have to make those changes to the Aja control panel, restart the computer, and then you should be all good to get going with vMix. So another thing is if you don't have a device that supports quad SDI out, like a HyperDeck here, there are devices and converters that you can get that actually will convert a 12G signal to 4 3G signals that you can then bring into production bot here. Just things to consider. So if you try and plug in just a 4K camera, 12G SDI onto here, and it's not working, that's probably why. You can invest in a converter to do that. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.